Hey everybody, Jared Jones. Don't know if you missed it, but Jeff Bezos was on CNN recently and he came out and said, hey, you know what? Run for cover. If you're planning on buying TVs, buying refrigerators, appliances, all that, don't do it. Mitigate your risk. And you have a guy like Jeff Bezos. I'm always interested when the billionaires start making warnings because these guys have a lot on their mind. This guy doesn't even work his business full time. You know, these guys also have access to economists and their minds work vastly different than most of us, okay? Not, saying these are exceptional humans, but they're exceptional in a lot of ways. Particularly, most of them are phenomenal at math, if you've done any research on billionaires. The interesting thing that is also occurring is that if you look at all the latest, like I have last 3 days, watching the housing economists, the local financial guys, Wall Street guys, the CNBCs, the Fox Biz, all these guys, the consensus amongst bulls and bears, whether you are up on the market and you think everything's going fine, or you think that Powell needs to go farther and he needs to hammer those rates harder because inflation's never going to be overcome. One thing is a consensus between all the bulls and all the bears. They're saying that we're in serious trouble. Recession's coming, it's coming big. Now you weigh all these things out, and I want to walk you further on some of the troublesome things. And a lot of this isn't going to be said on, on a Fox News or a CNN or a MSNBC or anything, because it's kind of interesting. I mean, it's interesting, it's logical, but it's scary. And I think you need to plan for it. You need to know if you are exposed to housing, if you have a house, you're going to be an investor in this marketplace in the year ahead. Like, you are going to see some trying times come. Housing is going to be the last most apparent domino to fall. What's really shifting in the housing market, even though some of the data we have is already showing some of the largest price shifts to have already begun. That's one snapshot look from the Case-Shiller Index that came out in October. You got to understand that right now the marketplace would be far worse, for the exception of the reports that we saw in December, which point to the fact that the only thing getting people by is record mounting credit card debt. Think about that, okay? So right now, savings are plummeting. People are, taking these credit cards now. They're paying them off less quickly than they used to. So that's another statistic. It's like most of the people that paid off their credit card in a single month used to be in the 30% range. Now it's well over 40%. You also have the average credit card paying around 19% is what I saw as a credit card rate. So now you're not paying off your credit card month to month, which clearly means that people are just strapped. They can't make ends meet. So you have all these things happening. There was no interest for a year. All that kind of stuff is going to come due, and people are going to be hit with a bunch of debt. Now, the first thing you're going to start to see, and it's already been announced, is the pace of spending is going to get hammered because they can't borrow it anymore. They don't have it in savings. We know the cash isn't sitting around, and the borrowing has to stop. But past the point of no return, when a person realizes they're going towards bankruptcy, they're going to spend the money. Okay, I have $50,000, $100,000, never have to pay it back. Let's go party like it's 1999. If I don't have to pay it back, I might as well spend it. So eventually, credit cards get maxed out. The amount of credit people have get cut off. They stop spending. Okay, they already don't have the cash. When the spending stops, the employers go, oh man, demand for my products are dropping. We're already seeing this happen. Amazon is the top level litmus test for how much spending is going on. They're laying off like crazy. So Jerome Powell's ultimate goal is to basically raise the interest rates enough to slow down spending, disincentivize spending. The economy comes to a grinding halt, inventory piles up, people stop spending as much, people get laid off, wages come down, cost of everything comes down. He's been frustrated because ultimately, even with his interest rate hikes, unemployment is still low, wages are still high, spending is still high, and he thinks that he hasn't fixed anything. But in reality, if you're looking at the tea leaves, people are basically living off of credit, just like our federal government. Why not? And in the end, just like the federal government, the Fed's raising interest rate, which means the cost of servicing all of these debts is getting higher, and people are unable to pay it back, and everything snowballs, and people eventually stop spending, and this thing unravels. Okay, this is what everybody is kind of looking at. It's like an accident in slow motion nobody really wants to see. The interesting thing is, even while the real estate market, by all accounts, the housing market, everybody, in the sector saying, wow, supply is really low. far as real estate agents are concerned, they look at the resale market, like there's no inventory. Well, there's good news that there's no inventory, because in all reality, people aren't qualifying for mortgages, or they're not going to apply and actually try and get a mortgage. They're not making any moves. I saw Pulte CEO on Friday came out and said, hey, we're stopping building. You see a lot of different managers, hedge fund guys that are in commercials saying, hey, demand is really bad, except for Texas and Florida, which will be interesting to see if those two states, which again, I'm in Florida, it's interesting to see how economically we seem to be stemming these things better than everybody else, but are we just late to walk the path? Is everybody on the path that we're going to eventually be on, or are our economics really that great? You are going to have some systemic issues. So as these people stop, the spending is going to slow down. You're going to start to see the reports swing the other way. And Jerome Powell is almost myopic in his goal of just, I'm going to hammer interest rates until I see people laid off, till unemployment climbs. I'm going to wage war against employment and wages, which is really bizarre, because it's not the employment and wages. Those aren't the cause. Those are the effect. It's the amount of product moving off of the shelves. The demand, high demand, is what's causing the wages to remain high. And then there's the bears that say, hey, you know what? He could stop right where he's at, and we'll have high inflation. He hasn't won the battle. He hasn't even dented the armor, and inflation's going to be really high. But both of these camps agree on the fact that we are in serious trouble from a recession. The Deep Recession is coming. And the Deep Recession, according to Wall Street analysts and some real estate outfits, hedge funds that own a lot of real estate, some of these larger economics firms that actually do a lot of research on real estate are saying that we're easily 15-20% with Deep Recession. It's in unison what they're saying from JP Morgan, Moodys, all these guys. So we'll have to see what happens. The dangerous thing too is that the fallout of job losses is just getting started, folks. As these people stop spending, the people at these employers, from retail to manufacturing to, which is not a huge market, but sales, all kinds of service industry, these are coming. As the sales aren't there, the layoffs are coming, and it's construction, building. A lot of these folks that I'm talking to are saying, hey, you know what? We just don't have anything in the pipeline yet to go. Once we get rid of the ones we have, we're done, because people can't do projects with the interest rates where they are. They can't get them to pencil. So you're looking at the marketplace and you're like, okay, I've got to buy X, Y, and Z to make this product. By the time, and X, Y, and Z, by the way, is still super expensive. And by the time I borrow the money from the bank, I can't get this product off the ground. So the pipelines of whatever it is, whether it's building homes, commercial, a lot of these projects, they're saying, a lot of people I'm talking to across the industry are saying, hey, you know what? When we're done, we're done. We're not building anything after this. Again, I told you the Pulte CEO, I think I brought this up already or in a past video, that the Pulte CEO said on Friday, hey, you know what? We're done. Like, we can't. And he blamed it on interest rates, but he's saying the demand for his houses aren't there. So they're building them and there's a backlog. So they can't sell them and they can't pay them the interest on all these, so they can't keep putting them out of the ground. So you have think about the aftermath. You got this going on a lot. KB Homes, one of the largest builders in the nation, their earnings were off and people were glaring at them going, what is going on? They're not going to keep building. They're going to have construction workers. You're going to have contractors. All these trades that were in the marketplace the last 2 or 3 years, you could not get one of them to work on your house. You'll find plenty now. And what happens to pricing then? So a lot of the effects of what's already been done by the Fed just hasn't been priced in the market yet. You're going to see it. And it's sad, but here we go. We're going to buckle up for the ride. And that's the update for today. If you don't mind, please give this video a like. It'd mean a ton to me if you appreciate the content and what I'm bringing to you. And as always, share this with a friend. Subscribe to the channel. If you want updates, constant information about what's happening in the marketplace, this is the place to get it. And I'd love to have you along for the journey. We'll talk to you real soon.